On the top of your camera is a dial which lets you choose a shooting mode. The shooting mode that you choose determines what decisions the camera will make and what decisions will be left up to you. Sometimes having the camera make lots of decisions is a better way to go because it allows you to shoot more quickly, while at other times you'll want control over some decisions to ensure that you get the type of shot that you want. For the rest of this chapter, we want you in auto mode, and that's this green box right here. Now, the way you change the mode dial is you press down this button here in the middle, and then you just rotate the dial. And there's a white line right here next to the mode dial. Just make sure the mode you want is lined up with that. So again, we want you on auto mode, which is the green box. In this mode, the camera is going to decide pretty much everything for you. But let's take a quick look at what the other modes are. We're going to be looking at these in detail throughout the rest of this course, but let's just look here at what's next to the auto mode. P stands for program mode. It's a lot like auto mode, except I get a little more control. Next to that is TV. This is shutter priority. Now you may wonder how you get TV out of shutter priority. Think of it as time value. You're changing the time that the shutter is open. Next to that is aperture priority, or AV, aperture value. M is manual mode. In manual mode, I have full control over pretty much everything on the camera. Next is B, that's bulb mode. We'll be looking at that when we talk about remote controls. And then C, which of course comes after B. In this case, C is custom mode. I can set this up to be anything that I want. Now, Canon considers all of these modes right here the creative zone. These modes here on the other side are what they consider the basic zone, which implies that it's less creative, and that's just not really true. Let's take a look at these. The first thing is the flash off mode. So this is pretty much just auto mode, but the camera will never use the flash. This is great for times when you're shooting in a place where the flash is absolutely not appropriate, like a concert or in a museum or something. CA is creative auto mode. And after that, we get into the scene modes. These are modes that are tailored for very particular types of scenes. Portrait mode for shooting portraits, obviously. Landscape mode for shooting landscapes. The little flower is close-up mode. After that, I get a little guy who's running. That's sports mode, and what Canon defined as sports is typically things that are fast-moving. So that's sometimes appropriate for certain types of wildlife shooting. Night portrait mode, which we'll look at in a little more detail. And finally, movie mode for shooting video with the camera. So those are your modes. Again, right now, spin the dial back around to the big green box because we want you in auto mode for the rest of this chapter. In auto mode, the camera will choose all exposure settings, shutter speed, aperture, ISO, as well as choosing a white balance and whether or not to fire the flash. If it thinks you need the flash, then it will automatically pop it up when you half press the shutter button to meter. In auto mode, you won't have access to program shift, exposure compensation, or many of the other controls that we'll talk about later, but you will be able to select the file format that you want to shoot in. Auto mode basically gives you a snapshot camera, albeit a very good one. While you may think that auto mode is inherently a compromise, the fact is that the auto features on your camera are very good and will probably make the right choice 80 to 90% of the time. When and how to use it will become apparent as you learn more about exposure and about the camera's other shooting modes.